Hello everyone and welcome to another brand new video. Today we'll be talking about Dark Souls 3 and its system requirements. Dark Souls 3 is a dark fantasy action RPG game. It will be released on 12th April. In Dark Souls 3, you'll be playing in the fantasy world against different dark monsters and enemies. The graphics look great. Also, you'll find a lot of different kinds of enemies and bosses. Now let's get down to the system requirements for Dark Souls 3. Surprisingly, the system requirements mentioned in Steam are wrong. How do I know that? Well, it's because the game has already been released in Japan and the system requirements mentioned in the official Dark Souls 3 Japan site is different from that of Steam. As the game has already been released there, so the system requirements mentioned there should be the right one. Now let's talk about the minimum system requirements for Dark Souls 3. For OS you need to be on at least Windows 7 64-bit like most other games. Who still uses a 32-bit Windows these days anyway? For CPU the minimum requirements are Intel Core i3 2500 clock to 3.3 GHz and AMD FX 6300 clock to 3.5 GHz. Core i3 2500 is a dual-core processor with hyper-threading from the second generation and FX 6300 is a 6-core processor from AMD side. Another game coming out with a minimum CPU requirement of a Core i5, but all these games run just fine in a Intel Core i3 at decent settings. I don't know the reasons. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section. But anyways, let's continue. The minimum and recommended memory requirements are 8GB. The prices of memory have gone down so much that 8GB shouldn't be a problem and almost everyone have them. For GPU you have the GTX 750 Ti from Nvidia and HD 7950 from AMD. HD 7950 is similar to the newer R9 280 in performance. R9 280 is much more powerful compared to GTX 750 Ti. So it's clear that the game is more optimized for Nvidia. So the game has decent minimum GPU requirements and will be hard to run. You are going to need 20GB of hard drive space for the game. Compared to many other games, 20GB of hard drive space is not a lot for current games. Now let's move on to the recommended system requirements for Dark Souls 3. For CPU, the recommended requirements are Intel Core i7 2600 clock to 3.4 GHz and AMD FX 8350 clock to 4 GHz. Core i7 2600 is from the second generation and FX 8350 is an octa-core CPU from AMD side. So the game seems to run much better even on older Intel systems. For GPU, the recommended requirements are GTX 970 from Nvidia. The devs at Dark Souls 3 didn't even bother to recommend the AMD GPU, but R9 390 should be the recommended one. So the recommended system requirements for Dark Souls 3 are very decent. You expect requirements like these for current games. Dark Souls games have been great in the past and I expect Dark Souls 3 to be great as well. If you want to pre-order the game cheap, then make sure to use the link in the description. You can pre-order the game much cheaper compared to the Steam price of $60. If you like the video, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to help me cultivate a better PC gaming community. I am AbsTechie and see you later.